everyone, and thank you for tuning in again to Voices in Action, a podcast brought to you by Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living. And I'm your host for today, Amador Perez. And before I go ahead and introduce our guest speaker today, I have a quick message from Judy Human.
Hello, my name is Judy Human. I'm here today to encourage you to please take your COVID vaccine. And if you have friends and family that haven't, please encourage them also. COVID is to be taken seriously. In addition to taking the vaccine, please use other protective methods. Wear a mask, use gloves, and sanitize frequently. If you need additional information and you live in Eastern Oregon, you can contact EOCIL. Thank you, and protect yourselves and the community.
And just as a quick reminder for everyone, we do have 4 offices, each one located in Ontario, Pendleton, the Dalles, and Burns. So if you live around those areas, feel free to drop on in and grab a test kit from us. We have plenty on hand, and we're more than happy to supply you or your family members with as many as you need. And now to introduce today's guest. She is a member of EOCIL's Harm Reduction Specialist team. It is Ms. Crescencia Witherspoon. If you want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do and kind of how you got started.
Absolutely. My name is Crescencia Witherspoon. I've been with EOCIL for almost a year now. I started in the harm reduction program. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but it's been my passion, and I've never had a job that I really enjoy working and getting up in the morning and going to. But basically what I do is I manage the syringe exchange program and work with community members who are actively using. And I make sure that they understand the importance of not sharing needles, making sure that they are disposing of their needles properly, making sure they're testing the drugs that they're using for fentanyl, and just to keep, safety and precaution and lives matter. So we don't want people to lose their lives over fentanyl, which is a big epidemic right now, and it's really popular in our area. So what else? I do HIV training. I train people how to, I go over stigma with people about HIV, and I do Narcan training. We also help the community members with getting clothes and finding places to live. I partner with a lot of different organizations that help, and we collab together to make sure that we can provide the resources and services that community members are needing at the time. There's a wide array of things that I do here at EOCIL, and I love it. I love it all.
Yeah, no, I bet because I just got hired here with you because I work as part of your team. So like I'm still kind of learning everything, and you've been my go-to throughout this entire process, just like figuring out, what it is exactly that I'm supposed to be doing, how we're making a difference. So yeah, no, I totally get it. And for like your needle exchange program, is that like really flourishing, or like what are the kind of like the goals you're trying to get with that?
So my main thing, when I first started, it was really, really slow. I had a hard time kind of connecting with those community members, with people who use drugs. But eventually I kind of found out where they like to hang out, and I built relationships so that they can trust me. And from there, I started to meet more people in the community, in that specific community, to educate and inform them. So basically, there aren't really any like particular numbers that I'm trying to reach. The main thing is treating the community members in a way that they feel respected and heard, because these community members, they tend to experience a lot of stigma, and especially in the health field, health field. I mean, they have a hard time going into Walmart, but what we try to do is make sure they're having the most positive experience when they're meeting with us. so that they feel like they are important, because they really, really are. They are somebody's mother, someone's brother, someone's cousin. I had a goal that, when I started working here, I was hoping, because I was thinking long term. When I first started here, given the opportunity to kind of develop this program, which was really nice, I was thinking long term, and I was like, okay, then in the next 5 years, I want to be able to at least get one person into treatment. And I know that sounds like, well, just one person, but I am not here to pressure anyone into treatment. I am here to guide them. If they are ready for treatment, I work with them on getting them into treatment. But by any means necessary, do we pressure anyone into treatment? Most of the people that I've met in the community who are using drugs, they tend to have a lot of past trauma. And in order for them to feel like they don't have to use that coping mechanism anymore, which is the drug, they are going to need a lot of support from the community, a lot of support from their family, the medical field. Getting them into therapy and counseling is really, really important. So we can't just push them into something that they're not going to be successful at. We kind of need to give them all of the tools to be successful instead of throwing them into treatment, knowing that we're not going to have the best outcome because of the way we went about it.
Yeah,
So,
and everyone just handles that situation differently. Everyone just
mhm,
has their own process of handling, their
exactly.
use or how they want to get better. So yeah, I know that was really hard because I've been watching like a lot of videos on YouTube about like just people's like testimonies,
Hmm.
and especially for like people who were using, they just found it really hard to, want to find help because they thought that we were just going to turn them away, or that, like why are we going to help them if they're choosing to do that? So a lot of like
Hmm.
their own like the stigma around it, the self stigmatization that's
Right.
with it as well, because not only like do people see them as, or a lot of people like just think of them as just drug users and abusers and that they don't want to get clean, but they themselves want to get better. But
Yes.
the fear of going out and making that first step is so hard for them. And just like
Yes.
learning all that, just kind of opening my eyes and seeing like that it is a problem.
It really, really is. And I definitely agree with you. It is hard to go get help when you feel like you're going to be stigmatized. Bad enough people who are using drugs, they're really hard on themselves because they want to get better. It is a sickness. They really want to get better, but they don't know how. And when they go to people who do know how to get them better, they treat them like they're not even human, and they treat them like they're a bother. So it's really difficult for them to think it's okay to even seek help. And that's the reason why at EOCIL, we just want them to feel comfortable and be
Yeah.
able to trust us.
Yeah, and I noticed that when I went to visit your guys' office there in Pendleton, I think like the very first time I went in there and met you, you had two people in your office, and I always thought, like, because this is before, because I've never done anything similar to this kind of work. So when I
Mhm.
first went in there, I had my own like thoughts of how people who use drugs are. I thought they were just like rude, crude people, that they're just to themselves, that they know what they're doing, but they don't want to get better or whatever. And to kind of like clear something up really quickly is I know it might seem harsh on what I'm saying and kind of rude, and some people might think like, how could I possibly think in that way about people without even getting to know them, without understanding their situation? And I just want to kind of just make it clear that those were just old opinions and old ways of thinking that I had when I was younger. I mean, I'm still pretty young. I'm only 22, but like the person I was in high school is definitely not the same person I am today. So it's gonna be kind of a theme, so to say, when I'm hosting all these episodes and talking with guests, is I'm gonna be sharing my experiences because it's helped me so much to be able to vocalize that and to take responsibility for the person that I was. So by me saying what I used to believe in, what I used to think, and what I used to say, and vocalizing it, no matter how harsh or how rude it is, I want to be able to vocalize that so that way you can see the change that people can go through just by simply understanding certain situations, by simply taking the time to do your research, to
have conversations with people. That way you can mature as a human being. So I know it might seem kind of harsh that I would think that of someone without knowing their situation, knowing what they've been through, knowing how they cope with certain life problems that may occur. But this was me when I first started the job, and I never had an interaction with someone who was a possible drug user or who was on quote unquote hard drugs. So this is completely me during that time period, and I wouldn't change anything about it because I accept the person I am. So being able to vocalize that and not be afraid to share my thoughts and opinions on it, I think it helps some people, simply because I know a lot of us could feel ashamed about who we were, about the things we said, but that just leaves so much more room for growth. So I just kind of wanted to clear that up and just let you know that all these thoughts and opinions I had were just old ways of thinking that I had, and I thankfully could say that I've matured a lot more. I've done my research. I've had those conversations with people. I understand more now. I get the impact, or I know what impact those words can do to other people. So I just kind of wanted to clear that up.
But the two people that you had in your office, and obviously I won't mention them, but they were so nice. Like they're just opening up to you, just talking. Like one of the persons there that you had, just it just seemed like they loved to talk to you, like as if they didn't have anyone outside of the office to speak to. And that was like so eye opening for me, just seeing how open they were to you. They were telling you everything, just normal, like just having a normal conversation, treating them like any other person. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, I
exactly.
definitely got that sense of like making people feel welcomed and just like everyone else.
Yeah. If we create a safe place for people to come and discuss things, that's when we can be able to help them. Because if they're not talking to us, how do we help them? It's like think about a little kid when they're crying. It's like, well, what's wrong? You have to use your words. And so I'm just like calming the kid down, okay, I see something's wrong. You're going through something. Can you tell me how I can help you? So you calm them down, you get them to trust you, and then they open up and they just say, I'm hungry. Like
Yeah.
it's as simple as that. But it's the same way with community members. They have been faced with so much stigma, so much negativity that they don't even want to open up. They're on alert. Like they're just ready
Yeah.
to like defend themselves because somebody's gonna say something really rude to them or blame them for something. But when they come to see us at EOCIL, we respect them. We respect who they are, where they are in their process, and what they're doing. We just want them to stay as healthy as possible and teach other people to keep as healthy as possible. And then eventually they're coming here asking me, so how do I get into treatment? Then that's when it happens. They're like, yeah, I want to get into treatment, but I'm fearing that this is going to happen. Well, I want to be your advocate. I don't want that happening to you. And I think about, and I don't have any family members that I personally have dealt with who had addiction. Well, my dad did, but I really didn't know much about it. But when I think about family members, I'm like, I don't want my family member to be treated like that. So I do want to be there by your side so I can just inform the person, that's inappropriate. We're not gonna bring in the fact that they're using drugs, especially when going to the doctor, because most of the time when people go to the emergency room for like an abscess or something else, it can be anything else, like they tripped and fell, they might have a concussion. If they use drugs, they're treated as if it's always the drugs and they're drug seeking when it's not the case.
Yeah.
So treat them as a human being. And then that's when they start coming to you like, they tell you their whole story, how it started, how they've stopped before, how they quit before, and how it restarted, and what they really want to change. Lots of them do. They don't want to be using this, but a lot of them are in chronic pain. A lot of them are suffering with mental illnesses and they're medicating themselves. And I honestly, in the area that we live in, we have an organization who works with people who have mental illness in our area, but the waiting list is so long to get help. And when you're having mental illness problem, if you're having some mental illness crisis, you need help right away. So if it's medication that you're needing and you have to be on a waiting list until like 2 months down the line, what's going to happen in that 2-month period? We don't know. We're
Yeah.
not there to help them
Yeah.
because we have this long waiting list to get people in to get evaluated for mental health, so we really just try to be with them since we do have this long waiting list for mental health and different other like treatments. We definitely want to, wait with them, be patient, definitely be positive, and giving them a safe place to come. They can vent, they can come have a meal, they can come use the bathroom, they can come get out of the heat, so and then it's just beautiful people who work for our organization that's just so willing to help and so willing to listen,
Yeah.
so it's really nice to have all of that
Yeah.
for the
And then,
community.
yeah. And then like for like the people listening in and that don't like really know how it is that we help them, like, so if you know anyone or that is struggling with addiction or is using drugs, you can always just send them our way. And kind of our process of intake, so to say, is, well, they come chat with us, and if they happen to be injecting drugs using needles, we do have a needle exchange program. And I know, Chrissy, you're like really good at explaining this, so I'll let you go ahead and explain what like that needle exchange program is and how that helps benefit. Because when I first heard of it, and I'll explain later on once you're finished, is I thought it was an enabling
Hmm.
problem. But then like
Hmm.
once I talked to Chrissy and she kind of broke it down, I finally saw like how it's actually helping people and preventing illness from spreading and a
Hmm.
bunch of other things. But I'll get more into that after you kind of explain what that needle exchange program is.
Yeah, so the needle exchange program is pretty basic. So after we develop a relationship with community members, we don't really ask them a lot of questions. We're not going to dive into their personal information until we build a relationship with them. Then they start divulging all of this information because they trust us, they like us, and I mean, I have really good relationships with the community members who have access to the syringe exchange. So basically, what we do is, someone comes in the first time they meet with us, just tell them a little bit about ourselves. Like I tell them about me, like I had no idea. And most of them who come to visit, they taught me what I know. So it's a really good partnership. And so basically, we sit down with them, explain who we are and what we're doing, and then ask them how we can help them because we do offer a lot of things. So the main thing is our syringe exchange. And the reason why we're doing the syringe exchange is so that the spread of HIV is, we can stop the spread of HIV, we can stop the spread of hepatitis, and also we can keep the streets and parks clean of syringes because we don't want anybody getting poked. We definitely want to also teach people how to dispose of them properly because they don't belong in trash cans. Because in our people who work in the sanitation department, then they're at risk of getting poked. So it's just education and really letting them know what we would like from them, and asking them how we can help them. So basically we find out how we can help them and then we ask them if they can help us. You know,
Yeah.
I want so it's so funny because by asking them to help us, we're asking them, can you please stay HIV free by not sharing these needles and not, so can you please stay hepatitis free? Can you please bring me back these needles that I'm going to give you after you're done using them? And to keep down numbers in our walk-in and our emergency rooms, can you please not use these syringes multiple times? Only once. And if you need more, you come and see me and I will set you up and I'll collect the ones that are already used. So basically that's it. We do have a little application that we fill out, pretty basic. And I can run through some of the questions real quick, but we don't ask the person, can I get the spelling of your last name? Can I get the spelling of your first name? Can I get your social security number? Can I see your
Yeah.
health insurance card? We're not asking any of that stuff. So we create a unique code with some of the letters of their name and their birth month and birth date, which makes it easy for us to track. It's not for anybody else to come in and see any of these documents. It's just for us to track how much we're giving out. And that's it. So, and then we just collect demographic information. If they're female, transgender, male, we ask their race because we want to know who this demographic is that we're really working with. And, what county they're from. We do ask, are they camping? And when I say camping, are they homeless? Are they couch surfing? And I know some people don't like to hear, oh, wait, are you homeless? But, and then some people don't know how to answer because they're like, well, I'm sleeping on a friend's couch. Am I homeless? And I'm like, well, we can consider that homeless. And then we ask them, would you like more information on how to get into a place, your own place? So that's another reason why we do ask these questions, is so that we can understand how to help them better.
Yeah, and especially
So,
for like that homeless portion, because we do have people here in like all of our office who are independent living specialists. So
yeah,
like here we have Michelle. She's great at her job and helps a lot of people in our community finding like housing. Who's the person in your guys' office that handles
LaDonna,
LaDonna? Yeah,
and
exactly.
we have LaDonna and what's her name? I forgot her name. That's horrible that I forgot her name,
No.
but I don't see her that often anymore. So yeah, but I know LaDonna is one of our independent living specialists, and she does amazing work. And so basically, once we find that out, then I can do a referral to LaDonna, or sometimes I refer them to one of my partners at a different organization so we can get them into a hotel right away if they can, which is really nice when they find that out, like, you're going to go do all of this for me. That's when I start building that trust. They're just like, you're
Yeah,
going to go find out if I can get into a hotel right now. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, why? You don't know me. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I know you. I know you. Like,
yeah. It
I
always has
know
to
that
start
you're
somewhere.
exactly. I know that you're needing some help, and I'm here, and this is what I do. So let me help you. And they're just always really so grateful for that.
Yeah, especially because I bet most of the time they're just always put down, turned away, just because of their
Exactly.
situation where they're at right now. And then to hear that someone's actually willing to go out their way and help them as much as we possibly can. We wish we can help everyone, but uh, you know,
Yes.
we try the best to do what we
Mhm.
can. And
And that's one of the things I always say is like, if I can't help you, I'm going to find someone who can. And I do go out of my way. I had a community member come here one time. She couldn't get out of her car, but she needed some feminine care. And I didn't have any of that stuff on hand. And I was like, you know what? I should have this stuff. So I called one of my partners and I was like, so I can't, I don't have this. Do you have this? She's like, yeah, come up here. Let me get you a whole bunch of stuff. And so we hooked her up with some clean underclothes, all of the feminine care that she needed. And she was just like surprised. Like, she was just like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't think anything was going to happen out of this. I just wanted to give it a shot. And I'm like, that's the thing. Please come ask us, because you'll never know what we can do,
yeah,
you know? So it's amazing. And so the questionnaire that we have, the little application that we have, just understanding, like, when we ask questions, we're understanding like where they've been, and how we can help them. So we also ask questions like, have they experienced an overdose? And or have they experienced an overdose, and have they witnessed someone go through an overdose? And have they ever administered Narcan? Because if not, we want to make sure they know how to use Narcan. It's
yeah,
really important.
yeah. And that's a big one because I know we recently attended the Apple Blossom Festival in Payette, and there
Mhm.
was this lady that worked with another health organization that said that their area wasn't trained on how to use Narcan or something like that. And it's super
Mhm.
simple. Like even I understood how to get it. So
Right.
I understood how to use it. And it's really simple. And she said that like some of their health practitioners didn't know how to use Narcan and how important it is. And you can ask a community member, a lot of them are quite familiar with what it is just because
Yep.
how beneficial and life-saving it could really be.
Yep.
So, and that's a big one because we do have Narcan here at each of our offices,
Uh-huh.
and we're all trained to teach people how to use it and give it out. Obviously,
Yep.
we're gonna have to like talk about giving it out because we can't just start tossing them around. But yeah, we're all trained for that and ready to like help in whatever way we can.
Yep, exactly. I feel like us having the knowledge, we have to share that knowledge. We can't
Hmm.
keep it to ourselves, especially life-saving knowledge.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I think, did I answer that question about the syringe exchange?
yeah, yeah.
Was
No, for
that
sure.
okay? Okay,
Yeah, and
cool,
it's
cool.
super simple too. Like just going through the process and everything in the boxes that we offer, like because we have a needle vending machine right now in the Pendleton office, which is your office, Chrissy, and then I'm gonna
Hmm.
be getting one here for the Ontario office.
Hmm.
And pretty much what that is, and it's super cool because I didn't even know what it was, but it's literally like a vending machine where you can get a box or a kit that has needles, it has gauze, it has everything that you need to make sure that
Mhm.
if you are injecting drugs, you can do it in a safe manner.
Yep.
So people would come in, we'd give them a code, they'd come into our office, enter the code, and it'll just dispense it like a normal vending machine would, and then they
Yep.
can go about their day and at least know that they're being safe doing it
Hmm.
because that's our goal at the end of the day. Make sure that everyone can see tomorrow.
Yep.
And yeah, but like, the way I saw it when I first started was because we do give out needles, and I thought of that as being as a enabling them because we're giving them needles to do drugs. So well, how are they ever going to stop if they're just continually fed all this stuff? And then you explained it beautifully. Is like if you're a parent and you have children, obviously some people fall into like some crowds of people, and then you just want to make sure that they're safe. You don't want to be sharing needles and then end up having one of your own family members be sick or something like along those lines. And I thought that was like great as long as they're returning the needles. Obviously
Hmm.
that's also a big part, is making sure they bring them back,
Exactly.
but making sure that as long as they're doing it safely, they're not sharing with anyone else. So that's reducing the spread of diseases and illnesses among people. And
Hmm.
it's at least allowing them to see the future a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are, they're not going to stop using.
Yeah.
If we don't give them syringes, they're not, they're still going to keep using. The thing is, we're trying to get people to understand this. And I'm going to put it this way. Since they're not going to stop using, because it's only going to happen when they're ready, right? Why don't we cut down the exposure to HIV, the exposure to hepatitis C, and get all of those used syringes back? Because they're not. So let's just make it easier for them. And one of the examples that I really like to use, and I know some people can be a little offended by this, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I'm a sugar person, but I don't have diabetes. But diabetics, there are people who develop diabetes because they eat too much sugar, they eat too many carbs, right? Their pancreas cannot process the sugars that they're intaking, so their insulin's all over the place, right? So are we going to treat them any differently? Are we going to start, are we going to say that we're not going to give them their insulin because they're just going to eat the sugar anyway? No, we don't want these people
Yeah.
dying because at some point, eventually, they're going to get to a point where they're just like, okay, I really need to change the way I eat. This is going to kill me. And I have family that I want to experience things with. I have children that I want to raise. I have grandchildren that I want to watch grow up. So I need to control the way I eat. We can't do that for them. They have to decide to do it for themselves. And that's the same way it is with someone who is using any type of drug. It could be marijuana, like
Yeah.
any type of drug. We can do anything. We can take all of the bongs away. They're still gonna roll it up and smoke it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ways that I think about it, because we really cannot decide when it's time for them to change. Because when we think about trauma and we think about people, there are people just raised around this stuff. Like they were little and they're unfortunately their parents introduced it to them, and it's kind of like a cycle, and so they know nothing else but that. So you really have to kind of retrain them to understand that their body does not need this medicine anymore, and you have to detox them to live a life. Like, there are other ways of going about it than you treating yourself for trauma, you treating yourself for the depression, because that's what's happening. People are now treating themselves. So when you think about, let's use marijuana for instance, I used to have trouble sleeping, and I would be like, well, marijuana makes me sleepy. But after a while, other symptoms started to arise. So unfortunately, at the beginning, I would go to sleep and be fine. But then I started waking up and I had less energy. I was really groggy. Then the marijuana was making it so that I couldn't sleep. So I got the opposite effect. So we're self-medicating, but not really understanding that the treatment that we chose for ourselves is not the best treatment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I advocate, listen, we're all our own doctors first, because I know me the best and you know you the best. So what we do with that is we collab with a doctor, a professional, someone we trust to talk about things when we're having problems. So if I'm having some extra depression or I'm having some sleeping problems, I monitor it myself as if the doctor would tell me to. Well, how often are you not sleeping well? To get all of that information. And then I go to my doctor because I am my doctor first. And everybody knows that they're their own doctors first. But people are working on this stuff by themselves and not really understanding the effects of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not their fault. They want relief, you
Yeah, and
know?
there's so many traumas that can cause them, like someone's reason for using is going to be
Yeah,
completely different to someone else's reason. So
exactly.
just treating each person as an individual and not as a collective, all like they're all users, they all are in the same boat. Like no, people are in like different boats. They're on
Yep,
their own path. They're doing it for their own reasons. That's completely
yep.
unique to everyone. So just letting them know that as long as you're doing it safely, that's all we care about. And when you're ready
Mhm.
to make that step on quitting or maybe laying off of it, we're always going to be here with our doors open, wanting and willing to help you in whatever fashion we can. And then also
Yeah,
just like letting them know that it's like all confidential. Like if they come here, we're not giving their information to anyone. They won't get reported to anyone.
exactly.
Anything that's said in our offices stays in our offices because it's just that level of trust. Because once you lose that
Yep,
trust, then you lose that community member, and then they're not going to come back,
right.
and then that's just going to be a big problem.
Mhm.
So having that level of trust where you can come in here knowing that you're in a safe place, that no one's going to judge you for what you're doing, how you're doing it, and that all your information is going to be kept here.
Yep. I think that, yes, you saying that is very important because we don't want to add any more trauma to what they have already experienced. So we need to be the place for them to come and trust, us with their secrets, with their information. Because if we're not, we're adding to their trauma. So we're kind of perpetuating the whole situation that they're already going through. Because if they're trying to medicate trauma, with the drugs that they're using, then we're causing them more trauma by not you know, being a honest organization, which we are. We are an honest organization and we do keep everything very discreet here because it's nobody's business what someone else is doing. You know, if they would like us to celebrate their successes with them, then they let me know, hey, can you let them know that I got into treatment? Yes, I can. But until then, I can't tell anybody. I can't be celebrating all of this stuff if they don't give me consent.
Yeah.
And I did get someone into treatment, and he's been clean for about 4 months now. I'm very, very proud of him, and he's very proud of himself, and he loves for me to tell people. He wants me to tell people. He's like, he can't believe that he came here and I was actually able to help him because he went to so many places and they just were basically like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for you. And he came here and I didn't know what to do, but I figured it out because he was ready. And I was like, well, if you're ready and I'm here to support you and hold your hand, then I need to do my part. Okay, you're doing your part, I'm going to do my part. And that's what I really like. You know, there's some people who come in and they expect me to do everything for them, and I have to explain to them, I am not you. This is your journey. I'm just here to walk beside you.
Yeah.
And he was ready. So he was walking the walk. I just had to catch up because I didn't know, but I figured it out and I got him into treatment and he's doing really, really well.
I know you touched on it, like you learned a lot from the people that come in yourself, and that's the thing. Like if for like those of you who are listening or know anyone who say like all these centered organizations are kind of the same, if you come in and you educate us, because we can only do so much, but if you come in and just educate us, we can do our part to make sure that your needs are being met. If
Yep.
every other place isn't offering what you need and no one's saying what you guys need, then that's where that information is crucial for us. Because if we find out that people are only using certain types of needles and no other facility offers that, then we'll never know what you actually need.
Right.
So having people come in and just opening up, sharing what it is that they do, how they do it, lets us do our job a lot better.
Hmm.
So Because I know you were
Absolutely.
showing me how to make like the test strips, how you test the drugs if they have fentanyl, and you said that you learned a lot of that from some of your community members, and I thought that was just awesome because I would have never known.
Yeah, I mean the package does tell you how to do it, but I mean we we were all thinking the same thing. Do we test our pee? But it's not after the fact. It's not a drug test to see if you've done drugs. It's testing the drugs for a specific other drug. And so we had to sit down and figure that out together. And I mean, they're the ones that told me about the fentanyl test strips. Like I didn't know. And I'm just like, oh, is that what you guys need? Let me see how I can get that. You know, they're the ones that tell me about the cookers that they want. They tell me about the different waters that they use. They're like, okay, well, you know, we're really happy to come see you, Chrissy, because you have sterile water. We used to use Gatorade or river water. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? No, don't do that. But they're teaching me a lot of stuff. And I'm so grateful because I mean, from when I first started in June and not having any community members until probably like September, I had probably one person come to visit me, and everybody else was scared. And then as soon as they show up and they meet me, they're just like, I don't know why I waited so long. I'm like, I don't know why either, but you're here now.
Yeah.
And now we have this, and I'm here for you, you know?
It just takes that one person to like know that we have their back in any situation that they're in, and then them just spreading the word
Mhm.
is all that really matters. And because the end goal is we're trying to get them safe. And I know we talked a lot about like our needler exchange program, but we also have like our HIV side of things. So for the people out there that don't know, because I in the last episode, if everyone out there listening heard our previous episode, I spoke with Dr. Christopher Evans. He's a HIV and sexually transmitted infectious disease doctor, and we
Mhm.
kind of talked about what it is and what it's not, how it's transferred, and everything like that. And a lot of people still kind of have this misconception of what it is and what it isn't. And what we do here in terms of like HIV and needle sharing, because needle sharing is a form of a way that HIV can be passed from person to person, especially if like the community is pretty large in your area, that could be
Mhm.
a really big problem. So like here at my office, we have like HIV test kits, we have a bunch of other like safety tools on how to stay safe.
Mhm.
And yeah, I know we recently launched a campaign for HIV in the whole state of Oregon, and that's been going really well.
Mhm.
So, is there anything you'd like to add on that, Chrissy, about like our HIV program? Because
I think
I'm
I
still
think
kind of
it's
new to it. I'm still kind of getting the feel for everything, but I got the main gist. But you've been doing it for a little bit longer than I have, so
yeah, I think it's really important, like, to get tested for HIV first and foremost. Like, there are people who have no idea they were even exposed. You know, they all of a sudden get sick and they're like, I don't know what's going on, and they go to their doctor, and the doctor's like, well, can I test you for HIV? And they say yes. And they were like, I don't even know when I was exposed. So I recommend that everyone get tested for HIV. And you don't have to come use the Aura Quick ones here with us. But if you would like to, you can. We just like to hold your hand and be supportive because it can be nerve-wracking to wait for those results. Yeah. So we recommend that if you can stay in the office with us. But if you'd like to take an Aura Quick test home with you, you are more than welcome to. But there is a hotline we want you to contact for support because I mean, waiting for those test results can be really nerve wracking. But definitely, we want everyone to test themselves, and having protected sex is really important. Definitely, not sharing syringes. If you know yourself, if you know your status, then you know you're not at risk of spreading it. So definitely know your status so you know you're not the person that's contributing to the spread of the HIV because you don't want to be. We don't want people getting sick. No one wants to be the person that does that. No, so just getting yourself tested, then you know that you're not going to contribute to that. With that being said, if you feel that you have been exposed to HIV, if your partner discloses after they've had intimacy with you without protection, please, I urge you to go to your ER department and or to your health department and let them know of the incident that you may have been exposed to HIV, and they will get you on PEP. Now, PEP will stop the HIV virus from adhering to your cells. So basically, you will not get the virus. So if you were exposed and HIV was in your body, it doesn't allow the HIV to actually combine with your cells and become the virus in your body.
Yeah,
So
and you have a 72-hour window for that as well. So if you do find out,
absolutely,
it's like really important that you go in right away, because there is that 72-hour window
right.
for when like PEP will actually have an effect. Because after then, it's really really low chance of it actually working.
And what's really tough about HIV is it has to be in your system for, I think, 90 days for the actual test to come up positive. So in that period, if you were exposed to HIV and you didn't start the PEP and you took a test, it will say that you're negative. But 3 months from now, you can actually come up positive. That's why we want you to get on that PEP within that 72 hours, because we definitely want to not, we don't want you to have to go through that. But if you are exposed and you do test positive, we are here to support you. We love and care about you. We're going to be here with you. We know how hard it's going to be to receive those results.
Yeah.
We have walked through this with many clients before, and we will walk through it with you. And you will see that it's just as simple as you taking your pill every day, and you will live a happy and healthy life. Nothing changes. Go ahead and start a family. You can still have unprotected sex.
Yeah.
But with your partner,
But yeah, I know. And then we have like our case managers here as well. That
Mhm.
amazing, like Kelly Ramsey. He's our case manager here in Ontario.
Mhm.
Amazing person. Always willing to help and just be there for support.
We have Alexa as well, Alexa Swanson. She is a beautiful soul. She takes care of people. So, I mean, everyone loves her. She will come out smiling and giggling. Her laugh is contagious and everyone loves her. And she just really makes everyone feel at home. And I can understand. So let's go back to someone testing positive for HIV. Right then and there, they feel like they've lost everything because now they can't, like, it's like, I can't, who do I tell
Yeah,
without
and that's the
feeling,
hard part. Yeah.
yeah, without feeling, discriminated against or isolated? Are they going to treat me differently? We are here for you, and we can educate all of your friends and family as well, because there's nothing changed. Nothing's changing. You are still who you are. We just want to make sure that you're healthy. So you take a pill every day.
Yeah,
That's it.
and that's your PEP. And then for like the flip side,
That's the
if
prep. No, no, sorry. That's
PEP.
the so if sorry, if they were actually exposed and they are positive, that's what I was talking about. There's a few really
Yeah.
amazing medications that they have out now that are not making people sick. People
Mhm.
are living normal, healthy lives, having families. And so it's just basically your world changes for just a tiny bit, and we're here to walk you through that. And we want you to know that you're going to have the support that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't, that could be like so scary disclosing that. Because, and I spoke about it in my last episode that I recorded, and I don't want to like repeat myself on there, but the fear of having other people know and then being like excluded from your own community, your own family, like you can just go online and hear all these like testimonies where people like their own parents didn't want to talk to their kids or didn't want to touch them, didn't want to share a
Yeah.
glass, didn't want to give them a handshake just because they were HIV positive. Like just knowing that alone makes people not want to go in and get tested at all, or if they do find out that they're positive, they just give up because they think that it's over, and it's absolutely not true, because the only
No.
ways that you can spread HIV is through like bodily fluids or at pregnancy, at birth. So like kissing, shaking hands, using the same toilet, even, like none of that's going to spread HIV. Because I was watching a YouTube video, and this one kid, he lived in a dormitory, and once everyone found out that he was HIV positive, they didn't allow him to shower in the same community shower. They didn't let him live on the same room with someone else. He was
Wow.
completely excluded because he was HIV positive, and they thought at the time that it could be spread through just simple like air contact or just touching on the skin or something. But like that's just not true. So you can still
Right.
live your life however it was that you were living before you became HIV positive and
Hmm.
live your life that you've always wanted to live. And so we offer like a ton of stuff. And then for like people who are with someone that knows their status and is HIV positive, as long as they're on their medication and their viral load is low, it won't transfer at all. So you don't have to like worry about it. And then
Yeah.
also there is PrEP, which is like the flip side, which I was getting earlier. Like if you know someone's positive or you know that you're gonna be going out and things might happen, you can take PrEP, which is a preventative measure that will help protect you beforehand, so that way you
Hmm.
don't have to get that scare afterwards and
Hmm.
then struggling to find PrEP. Because I know right now it's kind of a lot of places aren't familiar with PrEP or PrEP. A lot of ERs aren't equipped with it on hand, which is a big problem.
Yes,
So yeah.
absolutely. So, PrEP is an amazing medication, and you literally take it daily, um, and it will stop you from. So, basically, we're not going to assume that anyone's going out there being risky all the time, right? But we know that things can just heat up.
And I don't know here we like at my office I have a ton of prevention tools from condoms, lubes, a bunch of like cards that lead you to like different sites and organizations that would also help you along this journey. I know the FDA just recently approved the first anal condom, the one.
Mhm.
So and I have some available at my office, but if you were to come in and you're interested in that, we can help direct you on where to get them, how to order it, so you have them at hand. And they're pretty cool. They come in like a little case, have a few condoms in there.
And that's confidential too. When they order that, it comes to their
Yeah,
house. It's confidential. Nobody knows.
all confidential, like the
Yep.
packaging, everything. No one's gonna know what it is. But yeah, it's the first FDA approved anal condom. So
Hmm.
we have a bunch of like tool and prevention kits here at our office that you can just come in and grab. Like just
Yep.
come in, have a quick little chat, and we'll set you on your way.
Yep. Absolutely. Same thing at my office. I have unlimited condoms. I have lots of HIV test kits, the rapid test kits. I have the syringes. So, and I have lots of sharps containers. So we have lots of prevention tools for people. We also have educational information. I don't mind sitting with people and reading. I love reading to people. So if someone's, interested in me just going through the information and training them and getting them some, information, I would love to do that. I really like finding like short videos on YouTube about things because I feel like I'm a visual person, a visual learner. And so it's really nice to watch videos on trainings and stuff like that. So please feel free to come down. And there's so many different support groups. So if you don't feel comfortable with going to a support group in your area, and I'm talking about any type of support group, HIV support group, AA support groups, NA support groups, LGBTQ support groups, there's lots of them. And I have lists and lists on my computer saved. So if someone comes in and they're just like, I don't want anyone in my town knowing any of this stuff. And I'm just like, if you don't feel comfortable, then maybe something online would work for you, an online community where you can share your stuff anonymously. And so I have all of that stuff here. But we try to just promote people to live a healthy and happy life. We want people to be happy. We want people to take care of each other. And this is what we do here is we take care of each other so that we can see people living happy lives.
Yeah, totally. And then you just touch on it like if people don't want to know your status, like if you happen to be someone that's HIV positive and are embarrassed to let your partner know that you were HIV positive, you can always come in and we can reach out and just let them know like, hey, you may have been exposed to so and so or to HIV, advise you to go get tested or wherever it is that you feel comfortable. That way you don't have to go through that because some people struggle. Like they didn't know that they were HIV positive. They got tested, and then they've had X amount of partners in the past. Now,
Mm-hmm.
do they go through the trouble and maybe the embarrassment or the shame or whatever they're feeling
Right.
and telling X amount of people like, hey, I was HIV positive. I could have passed it on to you. So you can come in and we could do that for you and let
Yeah.
those people know that, hey, you may have been exposed to so and so. We won't ever disclose your name, but
Right.
we're there to make sure that at least those people are aware that they can go get tested and be aware of their status.
Yes. And that's why I can't stress enough that it's really important that everyone get tested for HIV.
Yeah, and regularly, because it's like
Yeah.
it's a
You
serious
really
like
don't know.
because you go in to get your teeth cleaned so you don't get gum disease. You go get physicals. You
Mm-hmm.
go make sure that you're just living healthy. Like why wouldn't getting tested for HIV be a regular thing if it's such I don't like to use the word severe issue, but like HIV is a lifelong condition right now.
And then you
So
know what? Another thing is HIV is common. So we need to stop treating it like it's not common. Like, oh, I don't have to test this person because HIV is not going to run in this. HIV is common. It's just as common as syphilis, just as
yeah,
common as chlamydia. So if you are using needles, sharing needles, if you are having unprotected sex, then when you go to the doctor, you're just like, well, I just want to get tested anyway for all of these things. Why
yeah,
can't we get tested for HIV too? It's
exactly.
just as common.
Hmm.
And the fact that it takes so long for us to get a actual positive read, if it is positive, we need to be testing more often. So I just urge everybody to be curious, know your status, just
Hmm.
know your status, but also know we are here to help you if it is positive. But if you know your status, then you don't have to worry about it. And talk to your partners about it. It's so common, and I mean, sex is so natural. It's what humans do. It's what trees do. It's what the animals do. I mean, springtime, think about it. There's sex all around us. There's seeds and stuff flying all around, and we get these beautiful trees, right? Sex is normal. So why can't we talk to our partners about it? Like, hey, I've been tested for blah 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 blah. Have you been tested? And if they're like, actually, I haven't been tested in so long, then that gives you the chance to actually decide, do I want to take that risk with this person if you want to have unprotected sex with them? Or do I want to say, if I want to educate them about, hey, maybe you want to get tested because I prefer not to use protection, but I know my status
Yeah,
and I don't know yours. So
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And I know because our campaign right now for our HIV awareness,
Mhm.
we're mainly like trying to focus on like I mean we're focusing on everyone, but like our primary is like the rural areas is because people are less likely to go get tested or because they don't have the resources available at hand that they have to travel to a big city
Mhm.
or wherever the case may be. So just making sure you at least get tested once a year, if anything, but regularly is a lot more like
Yes.
we prefer that you get tested regularly, if not at least once a year.
If you feel like you may be at risk, that's when we're talking about. Just go ahead and get tested. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to get tested, especially, I mean, most insurances pay for it. And if you can't test yourself at your doctor's office, then let us give you a free or a quick test.
Yeah, and
You know?
it's super simple. You just come in, speak to the front desk. They'll direct you to either myself here or in Ontario. I'm assuming they'll probably direct them to towards you. And then we also have a office out in Burns and the Dalles as
Mhm.
well. So if you know anyone or you live around that area, you can drop in anytime and we'll get you situated. And you just come in, you just fill in like some basic information again. Nothing like super,
Intrusive, no
yeah, nothing
intrusive
super
information.
intrusive, and then we'll get you a test kit. You can either take it here if you feel comfortable, or you can take it home. We won't ever like pressure you or ask that you like disclose that information with us. But if it does come out positive, we would want you to know that there is steps that you have to take now. Go to the health department, get blood drawn to make sure because not every test. We wish every test was 100% positive or accurate, but it's
Yeah.
not. So it can always read a false positive or a false negative. So if it does turn out to be a false or a negative or positive, still a good idea if you truly think that you've been exposed, go into the health department, get your blood drawn, and then we can proceed from there. But regardless of what you'd like to do here in the office or at home, just come on in and grab one.
Just so you guys know, I can talk really quick about some of the other programs we do have at EOCIL. EOCIL does have a food pantry Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can stop by. We do take a lunch break between the hours of 12 and 1. So stop by anytime before then or after, and you can come grab a food box. There's no parameters. We don't ask a whole bunch of information. We just have a tiny little application that you fill out, and we make sure that you get a food box for your family. And you can come and receive food boxes once a week.
Another thing I'd like to touch on is we do a lot of work towards like our LGBTQIA plus community and Two Spirit and just being
Mhm.
advocates. So we are, like myself included, I don't know about you yourself, Crazy, but we are going to be attending like a couple Pride events. I know there's one coming up in La Grande that we're going to be at. So if anyone lives in that area or would like to check us out, please head over there. We're going to have a canopy set up. We're going to be handing out information and all that good stuff just so
Mhm.
people are aware of it. Because here at the Apple Blossom this year, I I met these two people, and one of them was going to start her transition into being a transgender female, and they took a bunch of my information, and we just want people to know that like we're also advocates for everyone. So if you've ever had like any injustice towards you or been discriminated on, stigmatized in any way, you can come in here and tell us about it, and we will be your voice. Because I know it's so hard to like go against the world when you're feeling by yourself, and especially in like rural areas where it's not as widely accepted as in like urban cities and stuff like that. So just coming in and being a like just knowing that there's a safe space here too for everyone. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Crazy, I want to thank you so much for coming and giving your time to talk with me, just have a chat, and just kind of just go over what it is that we do and why we love what we do. Because I've never had a job anything remotely similar to this. So when I first got this job, I was kind of like, oh no, what am I doing? What did I get myself in for? And then meeting everyone at the office here, over there in Pendleton, just seeing how much the work that you guys do matters to you,
Mhm.
really like opened my eyes, and I saw the change that I was making and am going to make. Hopefully, it's just there's no better feeling,
I know.
honestly.
I honestly, Amador, I think you're going to do amazing things. And Isaac Garcia, that's his last name, right?
Yeah,
Isaac Garcia is also a part of our harm reduction team. And they're such amazing young men, and they're going to be doing great things for the community. Working with them has been such a blessing and pleasure. Honestly, they're so creative. They think outside the box, and they're really just understanding and accepting. So I'm just excited to see how far they go, honestly. But thank you so much, Amador, for having me. This was fun. And I hope that this helps people.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, and then just like a quick little overview for everyone. So we offer a lot of services, and here at the Harm Reduction, we have a needle exchange program. So if you know anyone who may be using, or you yourself or someone that's using and kind of wants to see what we do, come into one of our offices. And we have an office in Pendleton. We have an office here in Ontario where I'm located at. We have an office in Burns and in the Dalles. So you can come in there. We'll help you out. Even if you don't want anything, you just want to see what it is that we do. Come in, and then we'll go from there. And we also have our HIV prevention tools. So we offer a ton of condoms, lubrication, male and female condoms, anal condoms, and just a bunch of like information on how to stay safe, information to see whether or not you're part of like a high risk community, stuff like that, and the resources available to you, because there's so much out there, and it's just not being handed out. So we have a lot of informational stuff here that can help you. And then we also have our Two Spirit community advocacy network. So we help everyone. You're never alone in anything that you do in life. So
Right.
if anything that you get from this episode, we just like you to know, like, come and have a chat with us. We love talking to people, and we're here to help in whatever way we can.
And get tested for HIV. Don't be afraid.
Absolutely.
Just get tested.
All right. Well, thank you, Chrissy, and thank you everyone listening in. This has been the
Thanks,
EOCIL
guys.
podcast.
And if you have any questions or comments about today's episode, or would just like to know more about what it is that we do here at EOCIL, feel free to check us out online at eocil.org or follow any of our social media accounts, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. That way you're kept up to date on any events that we're holding and what's going on around our community.